Hi, you may have noticed that my channel has not been very active recently. Or maybe not, because it was never very active to begin with. Anyway, I'm unlikely to post anything about Flat Earth in the near future for a very simple reason. I lost most of my interest in the topic. Recently, when I'm encountering some Flat Earth claims and considering making a response, I started asking myself if this is really worth my time. And I found that the answer is usually no. Most of what I could say has been said many times already, and just repeating the same facts about basic physics over and over again doesn't look that appealing anymore. Well, at least that's how I feel about it right now. I can't rule out that I'll become interested in this stuff again. That's why I'm not closing this channel, not disappearing from YouTube or Discord, and generally not much is changing. I'm just letting you know that if you're looking forward to some flat earth debunking from me, you probably shouldn't hold your breath. But there is another reason why I think that it's unlikely that I'll go back to debunking Flat Earth in the near future. It's that I decided to spend my free time in a way that I feel is more productive. There is an idea for a project I've been toying with for years now, and recently I finally started actually working on it. And honestly, my main reason for recording this video is that I wanted to show you what I've been working on, because I think it's quite cool, and maybe you'll agree. I've always been amazed by how huge this universe is, and there is nothing I would love more than being able to explore it freely. Of course, that's unlikely to happen in reality, but it made me a fan of games that enable such exploration, like Elite Dangerous or No Man's Sky. But while games like that are cool, I'm missing something in all of them. So my idea was, and I know how this sounds, to make a game like that of my own. You're probably thinking that's an ambitious project, and if so, you're completely right. You may also be thinking there's no way he's going to pull this off, and you may be right too. In fact, I myself don't honestly believe I'll ever be able to finish it. The scope I have in mind is likely too much for an actual game studio, let alone a random guy working on it in his spare time. But I learned one important thing when developing my ray tracer, which you've probably seen in my other videos. Is that if I start with something small and limited in scope, and then gradually add features, I'm actually able to create a pretty complex application. That's how the ray tracer came to be. It started out as a program tracing a single path and outputting some angles, and now it's a fairly complex beast. So this is what I set out to do. I decided I'd implement a single small feature at a time, and maybe, just maybe, this will eventually evolve into something interesting. And if not, that's fine too, as long as I'm having fun working on it. So, there. That is what I've been spending my free time on for the past few weeks. And while this was not nearly enough time to make an actual game, I wouldn't be recording this if I didn't have at least something to show you. This right here is a view from inside a galaxy of 2,922,767,729 stars. I know the exact number thanks to how the stars are being generated, even though I haven't seen most of them, and there isn't even any database storing all of them anywhere. This program uses a technique that has been used in games like Elite Dangerous or No Man's Sky, which is called procedural generation. It means that everything you see here is generated on the fly, by a procedure that gives seemingly random but deterministic results. Thanks to that, every time I start the program, I'll see the exact same stars. And when I go to a position of a star I noted down from some past run, I'll find that star in the same place again, because the procedure that generated the distribution of stars will be run in exactly the same way, producing the same results. And let me tell you, figuring out a generation algorithm that would give consistent results when queried about arbitrary regions of space was quite a challenge. I mentioned going to a position of some star before, and that's something we can actually do here. I can accelerate to speeds that would be literally impossible in reality, and there we go. We can move among the stars. As you can see, the program becomes a bit choppy when I move. It's fairly smooth when I'm not recording, but recording the video adds some load to the CPU and GPU, and the hardware can no longer keep up. I can remedy this by decreasing the amount of visible stars. Or I can stop and increase the visibility limit, showing that there are indeed a lot of stars in this galaxy. And while I'm doing that, notice something, a band in the middle of the screen. It's maybe not well visible right now, let me add some more stars. Now it's fairly well visible. So there is a band in the middle of the screen that's much denser in stars than the rest of space. And this is because we are, in fact, in a galaxy that's a spiral galaxy, in which the stars are mainly concentrated around a plane. And I can actually show you what the shape looks like if I go outside the plane of the galaxy. So let me just aim right here, decrease the amount of stars. Okay, and now let's go to some significant distance. So we're going almost 2000 light years per second. Okay, this should suffice. And now, if I look in the direction of the galaxy, we can see almost nothing. So let me increase the magnitude limit. And now we can see dimmer and dimmer stars. And it takes the computer a while to generate all of them. But if I increase the field of view, we can see the shape of the galaxy. And you can see that it's indeed spiral with two arms here and here, and that the center is denser than the arms. So yeah, that also took some calculations to actually get right. And this is all actually generated by a single equation, which I will flash on the screen for you right now. It looks a bit daunting probably, and yeah, it's not very pretty. Yeah, and by the way, when I said stop, when I was increasing the magnitude limit, and right now too, I actually lied a bit. So if you look here on the screen, we are still going at 2 to the power of 17 kilometers per second. So 2 to the power of 17, it's something like 130,000 kilometers per second. So that's 1/3 of the speed of light. But even if I increase the speed a bit, like 2 to the 20th, 2 to the 22nd, 23rd, yep. So now we're going something like 8 million kilometers per second, or 20 to 30 times the speed of light, and still nothing changes. And that's actually why we don't see the stars move even though the Earth travels 30 kilometers per second around the Sun. Basically, you could travel a lot faster, like we do here, and you still wouldn't see any movement. Okay, maybe this is not very convincing because we're outside of the galaxy. So let me travel back inside the galaxy, and I'll show you that this is actually the same when we're inside. Just let me... I need to be careful not to overshoot. Okay, and now we're back inside. And I'm almost... And again, we're going like 1 million kilometers per second, 2 to the power of 20. And as you can see, I'll just return to the field of view of 60 degrees. As you can see, no motion is visible. We're traveling at high speeds and we don't see anything move. It's just because the distances are so huge. We can actually check the distances. We can click some star and we can see the distance 200 light years. So yeah, the distances are... basically the goal was to get distances similar to what they are in reality. Okay, but yeah, we were talking about going to a star. So now that I've selected a star, and the selection doesn't really do anything except show us this data, and the stars aren't even actually characterized by anything other than spectral type and absolute magnitude. So yeah, not much about them. They don't even have any size. You might notice that the points have different sizes. So this one has a larger size, but that's just because it's brighter. Okay, so let's go towards this star and see what it looks up close. So let me accelerate, and I'll need to make sure that I don't overshoot. Okay, let's approach, and you can see that the star grows in size, but as I said, that's just a reflection of its brightness, of its apparent magnitude, to be more precise. Yeah, and now that we're approaching it, you can see the blue colored, basically that it's a bit bluish around the edge. So that's due to its spectral type. Spectral type 07 is a bluish star. The V is Roman 5, Roman numeral for 5. So that means it's a main sequence star. This program actually generates the stars using the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram. Yeah, so it basically tries to keep those star types quite realistic. And yeah, actually you can see the colors of some of the stars even from a distance. I'm not sure how well this is visible to you, but yeah, I can see that this one is, for example, reddish, and we can see that it has spectral type of M4. M is basically a class of low temperature stars which are reddish, so if we go towards this star, you will be able to see it up close. And by the way, when we're moving, it's nice to see the depth. You can easily see which stars are closer and which are further. And when we decrease our speed, this whole sense of depth disappears. And that's also pretty much like in reality. When we look at the night sky, we don't have any sense of depth. We have no idea which stars are closer, which are further, without precise measurements. Okay, so now that we're close to this star, you can indeed see that it's reddish around the edge. And okay, I think that pretty much sums up the current state of the program. And as you can see, it doesn't have many features yet, and is certainly nowhere close to being a game. There is a lot of stuff to add, like planetary systems and more galaxies, and there is much polishing to be done regarding performance. But I'm going to keep working on it, and I may be posting some updates here on the channel, if you guys are interested, so let me know if you are in the comments. And for now, this is it from me. Thanks for watching and see you around.